What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the LA Soccer Hub Show. We got a great show. We had the Gold Cup yesterday. We have LA Galaxy. They won in a tremendous fashion. It's exciting. It was a great weekend for soccer fans. For soccer fans from all over. The Gold Cup US versus Mexico doesn't disappoint. Here to help me talk about it, we got Jonny Bolen and we got Alex Ruiz. How you fellas doing?
I'm ready, dude. I'm pumped up. This was like one of the best soccer weekends that I've had in the last years. So I'm just stoked right now.
Yeah. We had Galaxy Friday and then the Gold Cup Sunday. Alex, how you doing? How's everything?
Doing pretty good right now. Yeah, like Johnny mentioned, really good soccer this weekend. Very good start to the weekend on Friday, and then Sunday everything culminated into a great final.
No, yeah, it definitely did. Yeah, I guess I should talk about it. Obviously, I was there. I should mention I got this scarf they gave us. I got it backwards. Let me see. They gave us people in the media. They gave us these Gold Cup scarves. So I was like, all right, let me wear it. I don't really get to wear that many scarves, because I'll get butchered if I wear any particular team. But yeah, no, it was exciting being like I was telling you, Peach, being at the Gold Cup. It was my second time ever at a Gold Cup final. The first time was back in I want to say 2015, 2016 when Mexico beat Jamaica. I think it was in Philly. So I used to live out in the East Coast and I saw that, but I went as a fan. This time as media, but yeah, it was crazy. I ended up going Saturday morning, and I just got back early this morning today. So it was an exciting time. But yeah, how did you guys before I get more into it, how did you guys live the Gold Cup?
So I watched at home, and you guys know how I felt about the entire tournament and the lineups and everything. But with all that being considered, having the U.S. team, a super limited U.S. team, a C team, if you will, perform like that against, let's be honest, it was a Mexico B team. I hear a lot of people saying it was an A team. It wasn't. But it's still very talented, very established Mexican team. It was such an awesome game. Even though they didn't score until the 118th minute, it was still a fun game to watch. It was still a high energy game. It was still a classic USA versus Mexico game. And I couldn't have asked for more. Honestly, the entire time I was watching, man, I kept saying, I really would love if the U.S. scored in the last minute of full time, or in the 118th minute. I would have loved that. And they did it. So it's everything went perfect. I'm super stoked. I loved it. That's really it. I'm still riding on that high,
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, especially if you're a U.S. men's national team fan, it was definitely exciting and just so many emotions. To me, the surprising thing was there was only one goal. I expected a little bit more. But Alex, how did you live? How did you live an experience in the Gold Cup?
Yeah, just staying at home and watching the game, just like Johnny, having some chips and stuff. It was pretty nice. It was pretty tight, but like you said, I wish there was a couple more goals just to spice it up a little bit. I'd probably argue that this Mexican team was an A- team, or maybe missing one or two players that you could start players that you could put in there, because Mexico does have a ton of talented players on their team. They just didn't perform. The one name that definitely comes up is Tecatito Corona. He definitely did not have a good tournament at all. And he was voted one of the best players in Portuguese league, I think, a year ago. So he has talent, and he just couldn't perform. And then Berhalter getting all the USMNT fans to back him now, especially since the fan base had been divided 50-50, whether they really confided and trusted in Berhalter. And then now going 2-for-2, 2-0, if you will, against Mexico this summer. That's a tremendous win for him, for the fans, and just overall for the soccer program. Seeing that you can take a C team and still perform against the best in CONCACAF, because all the other teams in CONCACAF had their A squads. They really did. Seeing that a C team, a team with very little experience internationally, very few caps, very few times representing their country, and to be able to see that they can still grind out a result, because the reality is they really did grind it out this whole tournament. I think they had 4 1-0 wins throughout their entire run. So they really did grind a lot during this tournament, but good results to see. And there's a lot of potential for this USMNT squad now. And the only thing left that they have to worry about is just World Cup qualifying.
Yeah, it's gonna be exciting. So let me get back to like how I experienced the Gold Cup. Obviously, I was there, so I stayed at a friend's. Oscar, I know he's a fan of the show. He's a Galaxy fan. Talk. He let me stay at his place just like for the night. Because I wasn't trying to make it a long thing. I was just like, I've been to Vegas so many times. I'm just trying to go there and experience it. So wake up, because I think they started the game starts at 5:30, and I think you can get it. We were able to get in at 2:30. So I went to the tailgate, check out the tailgate, but it's Vegas, it's hot, it's August. So I'm like, there hanging out with a couple fans or a bunch of fans actually, and I'm just like sweating. I'm like under this tent, and I'm just drinking like water. And I'm like, get me inside the stadium, because the parking lot at Allegiant Stadium is so tiny. It's not like your typical football stadium where there's massive parking. There's like a little section like it's tiny. I don't even know how to compare. It's so small. The parking's so limited. So everybody either parks in the casinos or parks across. I think Mandalay Bay is across, and they have to walk. If you're staying on the Strip, you walk across this bridge, which is a main road that cars typically drive over. But a lot of fans just walked over the bridge. I was coming from the opposite side, so I was walking from a different side. And I get in there, and it's literally like it was kind of a mess, because I think this was like the first sporting event, with fans. So it was like, I was trying to find like the media entrance and like all these different things, and I'm like sweating like bullets, man, just trying to walk in there. But like, I'm trying to take everything in, because like the stadium looks insane. I finally get inside, and then like even just to get inside, just to find the press box, like it was just like a mess. But once you got in there, like like everybody's sweating, everybody's feeling the same way. But like you start. I was able to get in there before the fans actually got in there, and then like just to take everything in. The like pretty soon, like I think it was like 62,000 or 61,000 fans, packed the stadium, just to see it from the beginning. While I was able to walk around the stadium is impressive. If you guys ever get a chance, I definitely recommend checking out Allegiant Stadium. If you're a Raider fans, or if they play Leagues Cup final there, definitely check it out. It's very impressive. And like even like the like there's a section where you have to have like I think a specific wristband and stuff. I didn't know this, so I just walked in there because I had like my media badge, and they have like a kind of like the cabanas type of setup, like in the middle of the field, but you don't really notice it because there's like you can only enter if you bought a ticket to that section. But if you have like a suite, it's like cabana type of style, but you're inside a stadium, And I thought that was pretty cool. Like everything, just walking around, just talking with fans. And I know someone had commented on the Instagram, like, U.S. versus Mexico fans, for the most part, from what I saw. I mean, I didn't really see too many fights, but everybody, it was really cool. Everybody was really chill. Even the game wasn't as hostile as expected. We've seen some of the games, maybe because there weren't the other big names and that rivalry was there. But like, just talking with the fans, seeing everybody there, and just taking everything in, it was really cool. It was really cool. Like just seeing all these fans coming from like different parts, because even the day before I went to the U.S. men's national team, the American Outlaws. They had like a pregame, so I went there with a couple friends, and then I saw the Mexican fan base was right across. So it's like everywhere you walked in Vegas was either like it's majority Mexican fans, but you saw Mexico fans, and then like you see people from like obviously that are not there for the tournament. They're like just recording Mexican fans because they got obviously we typically wear our sombreros and everything. And like everybody that's just there for the weekend, they're like, what is going on? Why is everybody wearing jerseys? Why is everybody chanting? So like, yeah, the Gold Cup definitely took over the weekend in Vegas, and even walking to the stadium. Everywhere you went, the casinos, the Strip, there was obviously majority Mexican fans, but you see like USA fans. But the game, man, the game, living there and being in a final, and U.S. versus Mexico, it didn't disappoint. Obviously, it's not the result if you're a Mexican fan, but if you're a U.S. fan, it was impressive. But yeah, I was excited. I was able to cover it. I was excited. I was able to interact with a lot of different people. And yeah, I definitely recommend you guys, if you guys get a chance, check out the stadium and try to go to a Gold Cup final. I know tickets were $300, and I was like, I probably would not have gone because that is crazy. But like, yeah, next time for sure. But yeah, I mean, this tournament definitely lived up. Another thing you got, Jonah versus Sebastian Lletget. which I thought was really cool. Obviously they go against each other in practice. But Jonny, how did you see that? Because Jonah started for Mexico, LA Galaxy. I mean, and then Sebastian Lletget started for the U.S. national team.
I mean, I loved it, and with all things considered, with Jonah, I really wanted him to do well in the game. I'm a U.S. fan, obviously, but I would have loved to see him stand out in the game. But it was cool. It was cool seeing them go against each other. It kind of shows that, no matter like what rivalry there is on a countryside like basis, like they're brothers. They're brothers on a club level, and they love each other. I think we all saw that picture or that video of Sebastian and Jonah hugging. I love that. I really do. And that kind of just sums up how it was for my tournament. Like I was rooting for Mexico the entire tournament until they played America. So I obviously wanted Alvarez to kick ass. I obviously wanted Dos Santos to do well. So it was just that kind of situation. You're rooting for our guys, and I think, obviously Jonah had a good, overall, I think he did pretty well in the tournament. The last two games were tough for obvious reasons, but we're just excited to get them back, and it was just nice seeing them embrace each other at the end of it,
Yeah, no, it was good, and I really like that the Galaxy obviously was able to have players on both sides, because it always makes it interesting. They're saying you need a shave, Jonny. I don't, Andrew Alisana saying you need a shave. Isaiah also says in the USA Kings of CONCACAF. I mean, he's not wrong after beating Mexico.
Yeah.
LAC Kui says, greetings, Gio. What's up, LAC Kui? I say again, Galaxy are dark horse contenders this year. So yeah, we're definitely gonna get into that. But Alex, give us your thoughts. Obviously, Jonah versus Lletget, US versus Mexico. Obviously, we saw the thing after the game. I didn't see it because I was in the stadium, but I got to see the clips afterwards. But how did you see that the rivalry?
Yeah, just like most other people, I just saw it on social media, because right after the game ended, I just like turned it off for a bit. That was enough. No, I mean, I wasn't mad or salty.
Mexico lost,
I wasn't mad or salty. It wasn't like that. I was just like, I've had enough soccer for today. I'm just go lay down and rest.
Look, I had nowhere to go, so I had to see. I had to soak everything in. But
at least I had my bed here. But no, it was nice to see, right? Obviously Jonah's going through some things, and then Sebastian Lletget, he just seems like a good teammate over there, good locker room guy for the Galaxy, and Lletget's been close with both Gio and Jonah. He spent lots of time with both of them, and I'm pretty sure he knows their family pretty well. And I know he's trying to console him there. He probably hasn't been able to say anything to him, especially since he's training with the US and had the opportunity to, and I'm pretty sure Jonah really appreciated that. Just talking on who to support, I told myself before the game, I was like, if Lletget captains the US, I'm rooting for the US, because every time the USA and Mexico play, I'm always kind of divided, because I love both teams, but it's just really hard when both of them play, especially at a Gold Cup final, But unfortunately, Lletget didn't get the armband, but that's okay. But yeah, I was kind of viewing the game as a neutral and just viewing it, just as an analyst kind of way, analyzing the game a bit. But yeah, USA definitely have Mexico's number when it comes to set pieces, because in both of the games that they've played, all the goals have come through set pieces. So Mexico kind of really need to fix that a little bit. I was reading Mexican newspapers earlier this morning. I forgot which newspaper it was, but a journalist wrote an opinion piece about Mexico's run to the Gold Cup, saying how the game against Canada was just an illusion, temporary illusion for now to satisfy the Mexican teams. And then he described Tata Martino as basically sitting on TNT ready to explode. You can kind of infer what that means. This team is about to blow up or something in a negative way, but we'll see how that goes with the World Cup qualifying. Just great job by the USMNT. Young guys, getting their first, real international experience here. Because while, the Gold Cup group stage was, all right, the knockout stage is the real experience, where you really, start to get your experience, you start to learn, and where you really get your pressure, where you're really pressured as a player, really, to perform on that level. So congrats to USMNT. Lletget and Jonah both, I think, had really good tournaments. So I'm just hoping to see them back with the Galaxy soon, and hopefully this Wednesday they might play.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you said, shout out to U.S. men's national team. I was very impressed with how they did. Obviously, Matt Turner, had an amazing game. And I think that was the biggest thing, right? I was surprised at how this younger squad, the B squad or the C squad for the U.S. men's national team, and to your point, I would see it like A minus or B side for Mexico. Obviously, the big names that I would mention that Mexico was without was Ochoa, Raul Jimenez, and obviously like Chucky Lozano because he got injured. So I wouldn't necessarily count him because he was injured. Obviously, he got injured in the first game of the tournament. So obviously, it's like three big names, right? So, but nevertheless, I still feel like Mexico was the A side because obviously we know who was missing for U.S. men's national, like Weston McKennie, Pulisic, right, Hovarth, you name it. There was just like a bunch of players that were missing, So to me, I feel like I felt like Mexico was the A side and it had a little bit of an upper hand, but like whenever it's US versus Mexico, it's never going to be an easy game. But I think to me the most disappointing thing was how they weren't able to capitalize either team. Essentially, Pariola had a breakaway, like he had a gift pretty much right there, and he hits the crossbar. And then Funes Mori for the Mexican national team, he had like 4 shots inside the box and didn't convert one. So, and I think that's also going to bring up the conversation of Chicharito, and I think it should be. I think, obviously Chicharito, I know he's injured and I know he's dealing with this calf injury, which we'll talk about, but I think that conversation is going to continue. It's open back up because if Funes Mori was able to convert and he was able to score maybe one, obviously 2 goals, I could have made a difference and then kind of put the conversation to rest. But losing for Tata Martino, losing in back-to-back finals against the U.S. men's national team, the A squad, and now this time, it definitely hurts. And I know I was talking with a lot of fans, with the Mexican fans after the game, and they were like, yeah, like obviously emotions are high. Everybody's like, it's time to fire Tata and all these different things. I don't think it's there, but I think the conversation. I don't think the federation is going to go along the routes, but the conversation has opened up because he's definitely on the hot seat. He's definitely on the hot seat because if you lose the way you did, and then like some of the substitutions as well, like Salcedo came in for Hector Moreno, and then he was subbed off like an extra time as well. So I kind of felt like that was like a wasted sub. But just everything, and then like Greg Berhalter, the way he came out with the lineup. I know there was a lot of things about the lineup, and everybody's like, look, this is either gonna really work or it's not gonna work at all. Every player he put out there, and I was just like, he rolled the dice, and so far it has worked for Greg Berhalter against Mexico, and hats off to him because I know a lot of fans, they're 50-50, just like any national team coach, right? But now the U.S. can say that, hey, we've won twice. We got 2 on you, until World Cup qualifiers. So that conversation is gonna, the U.S. men's national teams, like they were saying here in the chat, kings of CONCACAF. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. As someone who's followed the Mexican national team, all my life and everything, and I've seen the U.S. men's national team come up. Those World Cup qualifier games are going to be a lot more difficult for Mexico because I feel like they have more of the pressure than the U.S. How do you feel about that, Jonny?
Well, here's the thing. I think that going into the game, Berhalter did an amazing job understanding expectation and understanding where his players were at skill-wise against Mexico. He knew, hey, we're not going to go in and keep possession against Mexico. We're not going to go in and keep having this consistent attack. We're not going to do that. We're going to have our backs against the wall for almost the entire game. So we're going to have to go and, build counterattacks. We're going to have to try to take these chances that, are the small amount of chances that are given to us. And that's exactly what we did. That was just fantastic strategizing on Berhalter's part. And then as far as subs, just to comment on it, Roldan as a sub, man. Oh man, that was great. He brought such an amazing pace in the latter half of the game that I couldn't have seen from anyone else. That was just such an amazing strategizing from Berhalter. As far as it goes when it says to Kings of CONCACAF, we're just going to really have to see. There's a lot of fair points that Mexico has when it comes to why they lost this game, the people they didn't have starting. And I think that the qualifiers are going to see if those were legitimate points. There's one thing I wanted to comment on. I wanted to hear your guys' point of view on it. But in the beginning of the game, maybe I'm playing devil's advocate here, but I did see what I thought was a penalty on the U.S. I thought that there was a handball in the box pretty early on in the game, and I was surprised it wasn't called back. I'm surprised that the ref didn't even go and check the VAR because I thought that was a penalty on us. I thought Mexico should have gotten a penalty. It's just kind of stuff like that. There's a lot of what ifs kind of playing into.
Was it the first one? Was it the first one? The initial one?
One of our guys had his arm back, and then the ball hit up, and they were like, "Where else is he supposed to put his arm?" But the problem is his arm wasn't against his body; it was up, and it stopped the ball from crossing in. So again, I'm playing devil's advocate here. Obviously, I want my team to win, but I genuinely believed that was a penalty for Mexico.
I think when I saw that, because I did see it, we had the TVs up there in the press box. It didn't look. It wasn't like clear enough to me when I saw it, because I think it was either Tecatito or Berlin Pineda that was on that side, and they were like yelling at the flag, the ref on the sideline, right, with the flag, and he was like yelling. I was like, oh man, this is a penalty. And then when I saw the replay, I was like, I felt like it would be a stretch to give a penalty, and I don't feel like, to me, I didn't want a penalty called that way. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's a clear tackle over something like that, like a handball, I was glad that no penalty was called. I know Mexico wanted like 3 penalties. You know, they like Funes Mori kept diving and stuff. But every time I saw the replay, I never felt like Mexico deserved a penalty, because else this conversation would have been different.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I do wish that they actually looked at it. I hate that this is the way VAR is set up. I love VAR. It's extremely flawed in my opinion, and I think that you should always have, kind of like NFL. If there's anything in the red zone, anything in the end zone, you're always going to have somebody looking at it saying, just look at it, like just in case. Like there's no excuse. And so I agree with you. Like I get why people wouldn't want to see that. I thought it was a penalty, but either way, I don't think it would have hurt for the ref to look at it and say, okay, let me like dig a little deeper into this. But like I said, just to wrap it up, sorry, I'm ranting. In the bigger picture, I do think currently USA are the kings of CONCACAF. They're confident. We're going to see if that's going to hurt going into qualifiers or not. But I really think we're going to learn about where these teams are at in the qualifiers. I don't think these 2 wins tell us enough of the story, especially without Jimenez, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and it's two different teams too, essentially, you know, because the U.S. men's national team, you know, with this side, Nations League, that was pretty much the A squad, right? But for Mexico, they didn't have Raul Jimenez, and that was the only player, maybe Chicharito. And then Funes Mori, I don't think he played because he hadn't completed the official transfer playing for the national team. But yeah, no, I mean, you got to give it up to the U.S. men's national team. You got to give it up to Greg Berhalter and the way he did it. I got the replay of the goal, so I want to play the goal, and then also I was able to get it on film, so I'll play that right after. So here's the goal of Miles Robinson, the game-winning goal. So obviously that was an amazing goal. On one side, US did it right. On the other side, Mexico, I think Edson Alvarez was the one that committed that foul, because I think prior to that, like he felt someone on the Mexican team, or one of the Mexican players didn't get a foul called, and I think Edson Alvarez did a retaliation. Talavera's coming out was questionable, but give me your thoughts on that play.
Yeah, just Mexico really not really executing well on set pieces once again. We saw in the Nations League final, right? Their marking's kind of been a little off. I think here it was more man-to-man marking. Unfortunately, you know, just the USA in general, USA are a very athletic country. You know, we have tons of athletes competing in the Olympics. We have tons of athletes, you know, competing here for the US, you know, to get position, whether it be for your local soccer club or abroad. You know, the USA is just the home of these great athletes all around. And I just think that the athleticism from those Americans really just overpowered Mexico there, you know, going into 118 minutes really. And I think Mexico is a little tired. You know, I think a lot of people were kind of thinking, hey, I think this is going to go to a penalty shootout at around the 115th minute mark. You know, both teams looked a little tired, but the U.S. just had that energy there still a little bit. And we saw Miles Robinson able to finish off the opportunity he got. Mexico had their chances, just couldn't do it. And overall, it was just a good victory for the U.S. And Talavera, he's an all right goalkeeper. Obviously, still up there in age. He has his pedigree in the Mexican League, but I thought it was questionable him coming out. I thought he kind of like maybe hesitated a little bit because I don't think he came out correctly. When you're a goalkeeper, you just rush in with nothing. Whether it be punching the ball out or trying to grab it. I feel like Talavera was kind of just going out ready to make a save and not really try to clear the ball away.
Yeah, I don't want to take anything from the U.S. men's national team and Miles Robinson because they capitalized and they won the game fair and square. I think when I saw the replay, because I'll show you the angle that I saw the goal from. Once I saw the replay, I was like, this is mostly one. It's on Edson Alvarez for committing the foul that he needed to commit. Two, Talavera's positioning. Either you got to come out, like you said, and punch that ball out, or you just got to stay in the back and wait to see what happens. But I just felt like that on the other side. But look, Miles Robertson did what he did, and it was amazing. So I'm gonna play the goal. I'm gonna play the goal from from the stands, and this is how Allegiant Stadium lived the goal. So obviously after that, like I know the video ends, but there was like USA chants, and then like it's majority Mexican fans, right? And it was just dead silent because it's like the goal scored in the 118th minute. There's like a USA fan right behind me, and then a Mexico fan. I think they were like buddies, and he was like yelling in his butt, and then the Mexico fans just like can't believe it, and everybody just started leaving. Like all the Mexico fans just started leaving after that. But Jonny, how did you feel after you saw Miles Robinson? Essentially, obviously, he scored the game-winning goal.
So, I know USA is dangerous with their set pieces, and when they were getting ready, when the Costa was getting ready for the cross, I looked at my buddy Bram and I said, "We're gonna score right here. I know we're gonna score. This is how we do it." And we scored. I didn't think we were actually gonna score. I lost, and it was amazing. It was such an awesome moment. It was like, when you watch those Disney sport movies growing up and you see like at like the buzzer, the score at the buzzer, and everyone goes crazy and and the dreams come true and the confetti comes down and they win the big game. And, with everything considered, with the team we were using and all that stuff, I feel like that was that type of moment for us. It was really awesome. And, at first when, I saw like Lawless kind of getting emotional about it, at first I was like, oh, it's a Gold Cup final. But then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? Like, that's fair because it is our C team. Like we played with our backs against the wall the entire game and we mustered out a win. And it was just awesome. It was really awesome. And I think that if you look at how bad of a situation we were in 2017, do we lose to Haiti in 2017? Yeah. Versus now, it's awesome. I think we're in a fantastic spot. And for the first time in a very long time, I am happy to be a U.S. men's national team fan.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be. I mean, 2 finals in less than a couple of months, and beating Mexico, the biggest rival. Doing it during the stage, So no, hats off to the U.S. men's national team. They're rolling high, and as they should be. Kings of CONCACAF, what you say? I know people in the chat are saying 2-0 because I think two games won over Mexico. So no, I think to me it's like I want to see where this continues, and I think it's going to continue well for the U.S. men's national team.
I'm gonna say one more thing real quick.
Go ahead.
Time real quick. When you're king of CONCACAF, that's a big title, right? Mexico have held that for basically ever since the existence of the federation, right? For years, Mexico has basically pumped out talent into Europe. They've pumped out talent, locally, around the region here and there where they've had good players, whether it be Liga MX or players filtering into MLS. But now you can kind of say the switch has kind of flipped a bit for the U.S., having more players being exported to Europe than any other time really in U.S. men's national team history. You're having players on the outskirts of the squad of the squad pool, players like David Ochoa, who I think today changed to be eligible for the Mexican national team, right? We have 3 solid goalkeepers now. Turner proved that he's capable of being the number 1 with the A team, really, after the great tournament he had with the Gold Cup. Julian Araujo could have been in the conversation because the U.S. has a plethora of right backs, really. We saw Reggie Cannon starting the final. Shaq Moore emerge as a real contender as well to take that position. And you're just seeing now that the the U.S. are kind of feeding Mexico a little bit because this Mexican team, this generation is aging. Guardado, Herrera, Chicharito, Jimenez, Lozano, Chucky. He's not a young player anymore. He's in his prime, really. Pulisic is still 22, 23, if I'm correct. Lozano's about to be turned 26 this year. He's in his prime. He's no longer considered a young player anymore. So I think really we're really in the middle of a transition between the USA and Mexico, and I think just all the resources that U.S. soccer has put into growing the sport in this country. MLS obviously has grown up in valuation. Every single club, I think, over the past 10 years has like doubled their value since 2010, really. So it's just great to see how all the efforts the U.S. has put in after that failure of not qualifying for the 2018 World Cup really starting to pay off. And it's going to pay off immensely now when you see that the C team can win against Mexico's A team. So that's just great to see. And just one of the things I was observing just watching this game, what I was in awe in, really, because wow, this is the USA's least experienced international players going toe to toe with Mexico. The kings of CONCACAF, undisputed kings before the summer. And then now look at them now. I can declare the US are kings of CONCACAF, and I'll debate that all day if anybody has a problem with it. I think all the facts are there to win that argument.
Yeah, I think you hit a lot of great points, and obviously Ochoa deciding to make the transfer to Mexico. I think he also sees it like, there's Turner there, there's Hovarth, obviously Zach Steffen, so it's like he's probably, where do I fit in the mix? And he's probably like, there's an opportunity for me to play with the Mexican national team. I have more of an opportunity. Look, Ochoa looks good. Right for ours. I believe he plays for RSL. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean that guy, he is good. But is he good enough to? Does he want to be the fourth? The fourth option? I don't think so. So I think he sees it. I think I don't want to speak on Julian Araujo that he potentially feels the same way because he hasn't decided. But there's so much right back depth at the U.S. men's national team that I don't know unless he goes to Europe and does something spectacular. He's definitely not starting over who they have, a Serginho Dest or whatever, right? No one's right mind you see that unless there's an injury. But I think for Julian Araujo, there's going to be opportunities, like Efrain. There's going to be opportunities, but unfortunate for Efrain Alvarez, he didn't get to play. I think he only got to play maybe 2 games. I know he subbed in as soon as Chucky Lozano went injured, but in order for these to pay off in Mexico, the young players have to be able to play, be able to play in these games. For the U.S. men's national team, they are playing the games. They are playing these games, and they are beating Mexico. For the other side, for Mexico, it's not the case, and obviously everybody's aging, everybody's getting older. So the talent pool is definitely in favor of the U.S. men's national team because of all the young talent. For Mexico, it doesn't look as promising right now. And things could change, but right now it doesn't look as promising because of what we're seeing from the U.S. men's national team. Pulisic has won a Champions League, right? McKinney is at Juventus. Serginho Dest is at Barcelona, right? I think the biggest name Mexico has is Raul Jimenez at Wolves in the Premier League, which is not bad, but it's not as impressive as Chelsea or Juventus or Tecatito playing in the Portuguese league, but he was essentially a no-show in the Gold Cup. So, it's interesting. And and if the tide is turning, and if we're living through the tide that is turning right now, it's a special moment from where U.S. soccer has been and the MLS has been. And then there's also going to be a lot of, Mexican loyalists to La Liga MX and all like that don't want to see it happen or don't ever see it happening. But us being so in tune to the MLS, it's happening right before our eyes, right? And if some people want to be in denial, it's totally fine. But it's truly happening, and I think it's very special. But at the same time, if Mexico doesn't do something, they're gonna fall. They're gonna fall far behind. And I don't think they'll be able to catch up to the U.S. men's national team. I want to get to a comment here. Andy says, wait till the MLS All-Stars beat Liga MLS All-Stars in a few weeks. Let's get rid. Yeah, it would be. It is going to get definitely really weird. And he also says Alexi Lala's trolls crying like a World Cup. I didn't see that. So Alexi Lalas was crying. I didn't see that. I
don't think he was. Well, he was kind of emotional. You could kind of hear the scratchiness in your voice when you're crying, right? That you could hear him through the mic really pick that up. And then he was like, I'm just really emotional. This is a big moment in U.S. soccer. And I'm just like, dude, this is like a Gold Cup final. Yeah, I get it's a big moment, but he's acting like they won the World Cup against France or something, you know. And that's what it was so hilarious and so funny, and so many people kind of made fun of him for on Twitter.
Yeah, because he was kind of sitting back and he was kind of like his eyes were kind of red, and then he was kind of like tilting his head to the left a bit, and then he was just like putting his hand over his mouth. He goes, I'm sorry," and that was really it. Like he was told, dude. I guarantee
he was choked up. He was choked up.
He was choked up. But I agree with you, Alex, because it's funny because I was literally like the same sentence. I was like, "How is this fool?" Getting emotional over a Gold Cup final, and then I see Sebastian Legit and Jonah hugging, and then I was like, "Oh, and I started getting all like, but no, it was, it's definitely a moment, and I just wanted to piggyback on this. We're skyrocketing when it comes to how America is, growing with their young youth players, how MLS is growing. It's happening at such a crazy pace. The league is in a different place it was in 3 years ago. It's in a completely different place it was, in 2014 when the Galaxy won their last MLS Cup. We're going to be in an insane league in 10, 15 years compared to how we are now. So it's like, it's just a matter of time, and I think we're all on the same page about that.
Yeah, I think the MLS definitely has had a lot to do with it. And, if Andy's right, if MLS All-Stars, I don't know how serious they're going to take it because there's games right after that. That's the only there's El Tráfico that weekend. So that's I think that's the only thing that would maybe limit them going 100%. Not saying that they're not going to be competitive, but, anytime you step up in the boots, you're definitely going to want to win. But, yeah, it's we're at MLS and seeing obviously what Galaxy and all the teams around the league have been doing, and even CONCACAF, the CCL. I just don't feel like any MLS team fears a Liga MX team. Obviously, the gap is not that big, and Mexican players are coming over here. So, I mean, look, it's like if this is what's happening, I'm all for it. Because if the Mexican Federation and the Liga MX don't adapt, then they're going to lose the battle. They already are. So it's like, we'll see what happens. But yeah, nevertheless, amazing Gold Cup experience. I was happy. I was fortunate I was able to go out there, spend a couple of days in Vegas and live it up, man. It was truly an awesome experience. And, if you guys ever get a chance, I definitely recommend it to check it out. It was really cool. I didn't expect, just the atmosphere just to be like, wow, and I think to Lala's point, he's been through so much through the 90s. He's been when the U.S. men's national team would get shit on by Mexico and all these different things. I think for him, it's a different feeling because he's been through like the worst of the worst. He went, through the worst of the U.S. men's national team in the 90s. And obviously he was the biggest star back in the day through now and he probably sees it. And I think that's why he gets choked up. Because I remember growing up, I never watched U.S. men's national team because it wasn't interesting to me and it wasn't exciting. But Lala's has been through it all, now to be in a position where he can commentate and see it. And he's maybe just reflecting back, to like, wow, like how far the U.S. men's has come back to beat Mexico twice in the finals. And I think that's, I know it's not a World Cup, but I think that's where it kind of hit him because he never probably imagined that this would happen, in his lifetime, because of where he came from. So I think that's why he probably got choked up. But obviously, I don't know the man. I don't want to speak to him, but I do know my experience.
That's a very, very fair point. I'm a little bit of a Alexi Lawless hater. Not really. I kind of teeter-totter. So I look for things to not like about him, but that is a very, very fair.
Yeah, they come a long way, and I see. I used growing up. I didn't watch U.S. men's national team because it wasn't entertaining and it wasn't as exciting. But I did watch some of the games and I did see the difference. So it's like he's been through the trenches. But yeah, let's talk. I mean, anything else you guys want to add before we talk LA Galaxy, because it was an amazing Gold Cup. It was an amazing Gold Cup, and we got to see so many different things happen. Jonah, Legit, and everything like that. And he quickly says, "Yeah, I get it. I get emotional when I see my old girl flourishing without me too." I don't know if I would get. That's a little bit of jealousy, Andy. I think that would hurt. But I think for Alexi,
I think that's a different emotion.
That's a different emotion. I think Alexi is still part of that. He's still part of the U.S. men's national team. But it's interesting. I don't know if I would get emotional seeing my old girl flourishing. I'd be like, I can't see that. but nevertheless, a funny comment there. But yeah, let's talk about LA Galaxy, man. they had. I was there at the game. I know you guys were there at the game. They ended up beating Portland Timbers 4-1. It didn't look good to start the game. But man, what an impressive game! What a way, and to score 4 goals without Chicharito was very impressive. Jonny, give me your thoughts going into this game.
I said it a bunch of times. I said that having 3 away games, with this limited squad, that's going to get them tired. That's going to get them hurt. And look what a break did to them. Look what like some days off did. It was a completely different looking squad. They all played together. They were linking together. Yeah, like it started off a little slow. I think we all saw that. But once everyone kind of got used to the pace of the game, and they started to see the holes that Portland was leaving open, and it just seemed like the game just switched so quickly. But I mean, like I said, that's what happens with this team. After that night, Portland Timbers, like even though they're not doing so hot right now, they're always a competitive team. And being able to win like that against the Timbers with a squad that's not complete, that's what I've been saying this entire time. Let Chicharito take his take all the time you need, dude. We can do this with this squad when we have the time to recover. And now that we're getting Dos Santos back, Leggett back, Alvarez back, like this is great. Like we're in a very, very good spot. And I think that this game just shows us how big our potential is at the percentage we're at the limited squad that we're at. Now imagine what we're going to be like when we have everybody. Like it was just such a great look at our future against the Timbers.
Yeah, no, it was a great performance, and obviously, Ralverson. Well, I think they corrected it. It's pronounced Ralverson or Revolution. I think they corrected it, but I don't know. Look, I'm not gonna tell anybody else how to pronounce it. I think I think one of the commentators they said Ralverson, but if you want to say Revolution, look, I'm not here to correct anybody. But that's what I heard. It's Ravelson now, so it's back and forth. So I'm not here to correct anybody. So however you guys want to pronounce it. That guy is killing it. He's been the cherry on top, scoring these goals, scoring the bicycle goal. Samuel Gansor got his goal. But Alex, give me your thoughts, obviously, going into this game and the way the Galaxy performed.
Yeah, I think Jonny said it best when the team they all really needed was 5 days rest, really. And look what happened. They were able to click and adapt as the game went on. Gio, you mentioned previously, Galaxy didn't get off to a good start at all, really. They lacked getting quality possessions. They lacked in their build-up play. And they just, the Portland midfielders just kept pressing them really well and were forcing all these turnovers. So the Galaxy, being able to see them adapt to that and how Portland was kind of making them play on the wings because they were really making the middle part of the pitch just really hard to navigate through for the Galaxy. And just seeing players like Araujo really dominate that game, having 2 assists and just dominating on that right wing. You had Cabral too, who although he didn't score and did miss pretty simple chance, I thought he was the most dangerous player on the night, really. His dribbling was fantastic. He made a player look like Jerome Boateng back in the 2015 Champions League, playing Twister with him on the floor for a bit. But he didn't score, but still really good performance. You can see that he's got something in him. He's a dangerous player. Just give him some time. That confidence isn't missing. Samuel Granzier's been missing that confidence when he came first with the Galaxy, right? You could tell he didn't know what to do most of the time. Sometimes you could tell he wasn't playing with that confidence. Now look at him now flourishing. He's got his confidence. He's, obviously elevated that a lot more after scoring his first goal this past weekend. So that's something to check out. I think Granzier is going to have another great game against RSL. The home crowd, I think, is just really bought into Granzier. We've mentioned on this podcast before his work rate when it comes to both the offense and defensive ends of this game have really been impressive and something that I wasn't expecting him to be defensively. But overall, great game by the Galaxy, able to adapt on the fly. And like Jonny mentioned, this team is a bit thin. The depth isn't there. Obviously the best midfielders on the team are going to be coming back. And it's going to be interesting because I think some midfielders have, kind of made the case for themselves. We've seen Victor Vasquez look really good, while these players have been gone. Revelson, I think, is the only player that I know is a lock. Definitely is going to be in the starting 11 once all these, players come back, once the roster is fully complete. He's the only midfielder I know that's locked in for a place. Kleshin, you can kind of make an argument, but I think, coming off the bench is a bit better just because he's a bit older and has a bit more mileage on those legs. I think him coming in at a, second half sub or something like that if Vanny wants to change something up. And he's versatile. in the midfield, whether being playing as a 10, as a central midfielder, or as a defensive midfielder, because he has played there a couple of times with the Galaxy. So I think Vanny's, with most of the players gone, has learned a lot about his midfield and just how deep it is, really. Because, Efra, I don't know if he's going to play once he returns. Unfortunately, couldn't play with Mexico. Do I know if he's going to get a spot in this, 11? I really don't know. It's going to be really tough for Greg Vanny to decide. But overall, just really optimistic about this team, the depth that it has, and just the players that they're going to start peaking at the right time, because I want Cabral to struggle now than later. I want his baby steps to be right now than later on down the road when it really, really matters, whether it be in the playoffs or whether it be, trying to go for a supporter shield, something like that. I want him to struggle now, let it all out right now, because this team's, getting better. We're getting a new striker tonight. Hopefully Dejan's going to be landing in LA tonight. So we'll be seeing how that goes. So I'm really optimistic about this team. I'm going to continue to stay patient because there's still a big learning curve to go with this team. Vanny today in the press call mentioned, this isn't the best team. I haven't seen the best of this team yet. We're barely scratching the surface. So there's definitely a lot of optimism for Galaxy fans. I'm just saying to all of you guys, because I'm not going to point any names, but you guys on Twitter, bro, y'all got to stay patient. Don't be fair weather fans, Every negative thing you see, don't be like, oh, he's trash. Why do we buy him, spend money on him? Like, bro, be patient. Like, please. Because that's one of my pet peeves, man. One of my pet peeves. I'm just going to say, you know who you are. You're getting a little convicted feeling right now, bro. So I'm just saying, just be a little patient. Be a little patient, because the results are going to come real soon.
And you hit the nail on the head. Jonathan G asked the question, and I think you guys just both answered. And it says, Gio and company, where do you guys see the Galaxy at this point in the season compared to the strength of other teams in the West? And what do they need to make a title run? I think the biggest thing for the Galaxy, I mean, you guys made a lot of great points, but I feel like the Galaxy have done a great job because of the Gold Cup, right? They don't have the Olympic team or anything like that. So, but they were missing was Leggett, Efra, O'Neal Fisher, Giancarlo, who didn't get play. He didn't play, but obviously that was still a player. Now he's on loan. And Chicharito because of injury. And they're still sitting in third in the West. And now you're going to get a lot of those players back. So I think they're in a good spot. I don't think the Galaxy, and obviously this 4-1 impressive win. It was amazing, but I think the Galaxy are in an impressive spot. I think the biggest thing for them is just to be healthy down the road. That's just the only thing. I think that's just going to be the biggest struggle for the Galaxy, because we haven't seen that yet. But if they're able to get healthy towards the second half part of the season, then you got to watch out for the Galaxy, because they're sitting in third place. You talk about a healthy Chicharito, Orion, obviously he holds it down. Sega Koulibaly, he's able to start there along Derek Williams. Leggett there maybe plays at the number 10, right? Dejan comes in. I think it may take him a while. Grand Sir is playing amazing right now. Cabral is looking, after this game, he looked more and more confident. I know he didn't score, but I think Galaxy, Jonathan, to your question, are sitting in a good spot. And in the press call today, Greg Vanny, or I think it was Jonathan Bond, but they said a number of how many points they wanted to get at this exact time. And if they win on Wednesday, they would meet their goal. So what are the Galaxy sitting at? 28 points right now? I think it's like 28 points. So if they win on Wednesday, then they'll be at 31 points. And talking about that in a team to do that in a year has been very, very impressive. So I think the Galaxy are sitting in a good spot. You just got to be patient. There's been some injuries, but I think the biggest thing is for them to be healthy. But I got to play Ryan's bicycle kick goal. I have to play it. When I saw this, man, watching this live, I was like, this guy's impressive, man. He has so many tricks up his back, but let's play the goal because it was amazing.
Everything is being checked as we see the corner. The outswinger being delivered. The overhead kick is a good one! Oh my! This man cannot stop scoring goals! Ryan Ravelisson! Los Angeles absolutely loves the Frenchman. And the beautiful tribute to the father of Jonah dos Santos, Zizinho. Ryan.
I mean, the bicycle kick goal was impressive, right? Just for him to do that. I was, like I said, I was in the press box and everybody was like, just kind of just yelled. You don't really hear that because unless a spectacular goal like that happens, we're just looking at each other like, did he really do that? And we're just like waiting to see the replay. And then to top it off, to pay tribute to Cizinho, Jonathan Dos Santos' father, and hold their jersey up there and the way they did it, that was amazing. That was special, and I'm glad they did that. Obviously, they thought about how they're going to pay tribute to his teammate and the father and the passing. But yeah, talk to me about that, Jonny. What you thought about the goal and then also the celebration?
It was just it kind of proved, at least to me, I felt like this goal kind of proved what is so special about this team. When I look at the Galaxy, like, after we won the MLS Cup, right? We got Gerard, and Gerard kind of treated the club like, whatever, like I'm retiring after this, and then we had Zlatan, kind of like, not kind of the same deal. Like, he didn't really take MLS serious. He didn't really care about the team around him. And the fans saw that. We always felt that there were these issues in the locker room, but seeing a moment like that, it tells me that for the first time in a very, very long time, we have a locker room that cares about this league, cares about this team, cares about their family, or the team members like their family. Like, we're all a group, like fans, organization, front office, all that stuff. Like, we are all together as a family. And seeing that moment kind of said, like, this is the team that I see wins the MLS Cup. I haven't been able to say that for a long time, but I genuinely feel that. These guys are contenders, and they're contenders not because they can score flashy goals or because we were able to, go in with great strategy. No, we're players because they're out there playing for each other, which I think Alex will agree with me when I say that. We haven't had that in so long. So seeing that moment just highlighted that for me,
Yeah, no, it's been very impressive. Alex, give me your thoughts, obviously on Ryan, what Jonny said, and the celebration.
Yeah, great goal. Got to see it from a great view. So it was so amazing. It was also too really interesting watching the game for me because there was a lot of Portland fans in the section that I was sitting with.
I know where you're sitting then.
Yeah, I was in 114, and they all had all the same shirts for Portland because I think I don't know if they were family or friends, but there was a player on the Portland bench that they're there to watch. I just remember his name was Zach, and I remember talking to some of the people there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we came to watch him and stuff like that." So it's really interesting having the interactions, with that goal, and then 2 minutes later, Boba C equalizes, and we heard the noise from them, and then a couple minutes later, Vasquez scores, and we're out there kind of having some friendly banter over there. Things kind of escalate a little bit, but fortunately, nothing too crazy in that area. But yeah, Ryan with a great goal, obviously great tribute to Jonathan Dos Santos, his father, and Jonny really hit it on the nail here. Over the last couple of years, it felt like most of our DPs and high-profile players were seen a lot more as individuals than they were as a collective team, really. With this team, you have a lot of players who have a lot to prove, They want to work with one another to make each other better, and I think that's something Vandy's been preaching a lot, This coaching staff has really helped a lot, too. I've been really interested and, been watching, Kevin Hartman and Jonathan Bond. I love, that, Kevin Hartman's back with the Galaxy, as a coach. He was a legendary goalkeeper here. And then, seeing him and Bond just have a really good relationship, coach and player, it's great to see. Bond has tons of respect for, Kevin Hartman, and Kevin Hartman, too, also has tons of respect for Bond. And it's just like, wow, man, it feels so much like a family. And you really haven't been able to say that so much. You've been able to say team for the last couple years, 5 years. This is a team, but this isn't a family. And now it is a family. It feels like that. Everyone in the locker room just has tons of respect for each other. Grancier, all these other players, foreign players, they're bonding in the locker room. They don't feel like outcasts. They feel like they're part of this. And that's something that, just really resonates with me, something I'm really excited for. And like Jonny mentioned, you can say this team is the MLS Cup, contender, because on any given day, any one of our players can go off, really. And I'm confident in saying that the Galaxy can beat any team in MLS, one match, it's all possible. So I'm really excited, for that, Ryan bicycle kick goal. But if you just really take a moment to look at it, there's so many deeper things going on besides that goal. And that's something that, once I saw the goal, I was like, man, that's crazy. And it culminated with a 4-1 win over, Portland Timbers team that, they still have Diego Valeri and still have tons of quality players on there. They would beat a team like that. pretty easily. I was just like, man, this is going to be a good season, a long season. I think we're definitely playoff bound. So I'm excited to see what the future holds and just see how this team gets better, because really, right now we're trying to see players like Cabral, Granzier, can you keep on improving? Because that's the only question this team has. Which players are going to keep improving and which ones are not?
Yeah. And did you say family? Because Andrew says in the chat, Dom Toretto has entered the chat.
Somebody said family.
That
Gio, you should have
was
set
amazing.
up the video where he's like, I don't have friends.
Man,
I
can't do that. I can't do that quick, man. I gotta
Andrew's spent his
download.
whole life for that.
I gotta download. I thought about, but dude, to do that right now, I don't have the video, and I didn't think that. Maybe I'll get the video next time. But that, Andrew, I think you went maybe the comment of the
Top
show.
comment of the night.
Top comment of the night, because it was hilarious. But yeah, no, I mean, look, I want to share. Obviously, today was a press call, but to add to that, everything you guys been saying, the family, everything like that, I was able to ask, Jonathan Bond about, them, obviously, a lot of different players coming in, and especially in the center back position, which I think it's very critical for a goalkeeper in the back line, right? He's had Sega, Nick Dupuis, Derek Williams. There's been an interchange. Ryan has played there. So I just asked him along the lines, like, how is it? Obviously, things changed. And, Jonathan Bond, just to paraphrase here, he's like, yeah, we talk, but he also says, like, we also have to work with the offense and the people up front, because he's like, I can't just be, even though if Chicharito is there or not, like, I can't just be bombing the ball up there, right? Because he was talking about it, like, I like how he went in depth, because essentially what he was saying is, like, I can't just bomb the ball up there because it's not going to help the offense. We got to sometimes, essentially we're saying we got to play from the back. And for him to say then, to take notice, it really speaks volume of how Jonathan Bond sees the team, because you can't, to his point, you can't just bomb the ball up there, expect, hey, the offense just to win the ball. If you're able to play from the back all the way up, then it gets the game opens up for the Galaxy, right, in different ways. So I got the quote here of what he said about his teammates. So he says, there's no egos in the locker room. One of the best changing rooms I've been a part of, end quote. And I think he was also asked about, obviously, if he's seen Ted Lasso or anything like that. Obviously, Jonathan Bond is British and out there. And he said he's only seen 2 episodes, but he hasn't seen it because what I'm paraphrasing here, but he said the reason he doesn't want to watch it is because it reminds him of home, and he doesn't want to. He's in the U.S. now, right? He wants to be in the present. So I'm not saying he had a bad experience home or whatever, but like he's really liking what he has with the Galaxy, and he's never had that before, And I think watching the Ted Lasso, if you guys have seen, I haven't seen the whole full season, but like the locker room's kind of turmoil and stuff like that. And I think Jonathan Bond is glad the Galaxy is not like that with egos and all these different things. And I just found it interesting because if anybody's seen the Ted Lasso movie, they understand, how there's egos and all these different things. And just in any team, any sport, like if there's egos and stuff like that, it's not gonna make it easy to play with each other, and those losses are gonna be a lot more difficult. So I thought that was very interesting that he said that about his teammates, and then when he was asked about Ted Lasso, because it shows you where Jonathan Bond's mindset is at, and it shows you that like he also recognizes what they have with the Galaxy is really, really special, especially where he's played from and where he's come from.
Yeah.
Can I point out one thing real quick? Oh,
yeah,
you
go
go.
ahead.
You go.
Well, I'll just go because it's quick. I find it funny how on the post you just showed you, someone commented, "Are you sure about that?" Because someone commented, "Are you sure about that?" Because Seba and Jonah are like 2 frat guys. So I don't know about that one.
I did see that, but I don't see.
That was pretty funny.
I don't see. Let me pull it back up.
Yeah,
I don't see Seba and Jonah as frat guys. I don't know if you guys see
I can understand because
I understand it.
Post like them going out and stuff. Like I can understand that, but I don't think it's that big of an issue in the locker room because they still, pour it out on the field and stuff. But I just thought that comment was pretty funny. Just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, no, I agree. I saw it too, and I was like, I get what they're saying, but at the same time, you don't get the douchey feeling from Seba.
That's just true.
You don't get that from Seba and Jonah. They're more just like, hey, we like to have a good time and be, it's like, that's just how I see it. I think those guys are fun, and they just have to like to have a good time, But go ahead, Jonny. I know you're going to say something.
I was just gonna say we've been like since Jaime Pinedo left, we've been like in this weird space with goalkeeping. And it's just so refreshing to have an awesome, awesome keeper like Bond, who not only is just amazing on the field, but also just genuinely wants to be there. He's happy to be there. He's comfortable. He loves the coaching. It's like what a move by Vanny, like to get some man like Jonathan Bond. Like, gosh, I'm just, he's so awesome. And the thing is, it's funny is we give him so much credit. Everyone talks about how great he is, but he's so great. I still think that that's not enough credit. I love Jonathan Bond, and I hope that he stays with us for a very long time.
Yeah, no. I mean, everything I just, just being able to hear and what he says and how they think about the team and, and how you're able to notice what they got especially. And credit also to Dennis Close for hiring Greg Vanny, because Greg Vanny is the guy that, is the guy in charge, and he understands what he's doing. And obviously it's not been easy, but like, I think the job that Greg Vanny has done throughout this Gold Cup and Nations League, right, with Seba and Jonathan and Efra being out and with the injuries too, I think it's gone kind of unnoticed, because obviously whenever you lose or you don't on the road, I think that did they get 1 point? I forgot how many points they got. Obviously they lost to Dallas. I think did they lose to the Whitecaps? Well, it wasn't. Let's put it this way: it wasn't a great road trip, right? But I think for them to still be in third place without those players and without Chicharito, it's been an impressive job by Greg Vanny, and now you're getting those guys back here for for Wednesday's game. So I mean, it's going to be good. So I want to bring up the standings. I was right. The Galaxy do have 28 points. You look at the standings there, right? You obviously Seattle's there up number 1 with 32 points. Kansas City with 30 points. The Galaxy with 28 points. Colorado in 4th with 27, and then 5th LAFC, and then with 23 points. So I mean, they're sitting pretty good right now, right? And Greg Vanny also said that Chicharito's doubtful for this game. Victor Vasquez is questionable, so I think we can assume, at least I can assume, that those two are not going to be playing again this Wednesday. So, but they're sitting pretty good to get a win. And Kansas City also plays LAFC on Wednesday, so it's going to be interesting, because if Kansas City ties or they lose, then the Galaxy can be right up there, can essentially be tied for second place, depending how Kansas City does at LAFC. How do you guys, Alex, how do you see the standing so far?
You can say a couple weeks ago when we lost to Kansas City, like, hey man, we fumbled the bag here for a bit. We could have gone top of the Western Conference, but because of the CONCACAF Gold Cup, a lot of players are out there. Kansas City, Seattle have lost tons of key players. I would say it's been a disappointing road trip, but you also got to, take a moment to look at the rest of the league. LAFC, they don't really have that many players, if I'm correct, out for the Gold Cup, if I'm correct, right? And they haven't been able to climb up the standings too well, even though they kind of got on a bit more of a better form. But the Galaxy, on the other hand, they've kept up a little bit, and they've certainly had help from other teams, because Seattle and Kansas City both dropped points this past weekend. So you can say that while the road trip wasn't successful, in a way, you kind of got to think all the other little MLS clubs that kind of helped it not be too much of a disaster, because it's not like the Galaxy, fell down to 6th or 7th or became, fringe playoff team right now in the standings. They're still a top 3 seed in the Western Conference. So I don't think there isn't much to worry about the standings just yet. Maybe when it gets to maybe the last couple of weeks, because there's still a chance for the Supporter Shield. I still think the Galaxy, are a good team, and I think they'll continue to put up points, because they've only had one tie this entire season. They're going to win or lose, and I think there's going to be a lot more wins than losses when it comes to this back-end stretch of the year. So I think the standings shouldn't be too much of a worry for a lot of Galaxy fans just yet, because at the moment, if, the season were to end today, right, we'd have a home game in the playoffs. So there really isn't much to worry about.
Yeah, and to your point, Messi 568 and the chat says, can we win MLS Cup and the community and Supporter Shield? I think it's not far off. I mean, I want to see how this team is when they're healthy, because I think they could be the best team in the MLS when healthy. But Seattle, you cannot overlook Seattle and the job they've done, because I know they're
and the Revolution.
Yeah, and the Revolution too. So it's you also got to see. quickly in the chat. So I know Andy's a big fan of Austin. They currently sit in 13th place. So I know Andy's a big Austin FC fan. So I think we just have to point that out there. Andy, we have to scroll all the way up. They don't even fit on here. So yeah, I think he commented to something he wanted to see. He's like, please don't scroll that. And we're able to see. But Jonny, give me your thoughts on how you feeling about the Galaxy. Obviously, I know we hit on it earlier, but I mean, they look good, and they're getting these guys back.
Here's the thing, and I'm gonna try to make this short because it's really cut and dry. I'm never like I want Kansas City to kick LAFC's ass, because if anybody's gonna beat Kansas City to overtake them, it's gonna be us. I don't want to get there with LAFC's help. I want to kick Kansas City's ass, with us. That's it. Same thing with Sounders, dude. I don't care. We're that good. Let us do this. Let us get to the top of the table without anyone else's help. I hope Kansas City beats the crap out of LAFC, and I hope that the next time we meet up with them, we beat Kansas City's ass and get up in the standings. Because that's the thing. It's so tight that that's all possible. We could do this. We have the club to do it. Currently, with the current team we have, we could still do it. Imagine when we're at 100%. We haven't been at 100% all season. I say that every single episode. But when we are at 100%, it's going to be amazing. We are going to be such a dominant team, and we can easily win the MLS Cup and the Supporters Shield. And I said this before, I don't care about the Supporters Shield. I want the MLS Cup, but I think we could definitely win the Supporters Shield. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, I think I would just say I don't think it's going to be easy, even though you get the full team healthy, because I think Seattle's going to be a tough team. LAFC will be a tough team, depending where they sit, because those games are always tough. And even SKC and Minnesota. But the Galaxy have the weapons. Let me say, the Galaxy have the weapons. If they stay healthy, I think they got the weapons, and they can definitely do a lot in this first year under the helm of Greg Vanney. So there's a lot. Look, to me, it's just about the hardest thing about supporting your club and supporting your team is about being patient when it doesn't look good or it's struggling. But I think if you're able to see the bigger picture, what's actually going on, the Gold Cup guys are missing, Chicharito, obviously, even if he doesn't play, I think Greg Vanney talked about this injury and how he's talked about it. I think if the longer you're able to be with it without him and still stay positive and still get points and stuff like that, because to his point, when initially we got injured, you want him to get back when he's 100%, fully 100%. This calf injury doesn't come back, and I don't feel like right now with them sitting in third place, obviously depending when Dejan gets in here and all those different things, and how he looks, but if they're able to play like somewhat of how they played on Friday, I don't expect them to score 4 goals, but I do expect them to get the win on Wednesday. I think it's going to look good for the Galaxy, and whenever that happens, whenever this team is 100% healthy, I want to see it. I want to see it, and I don't think we will be disappointed with the Galaxy. But final thoughts, Alex. Give me your final thoughts, because I know we've run over.
Yeah, like you mentioned, right? This game upcoming against RSL, on paper should be a simple win for the Galaxy. The last couple of times they've played RSL really hasn't been as simple, but I think the home crowd is really fueling this team in a really positive way, and something that they really needed, right? This stretch on the road was really rough, in the middle of July, going and playing these teams. It was just not good for the team, right? And then now Seba, Jonah, Efra, they're all coming back. So Vanney will have a couple of more options to rotate that midfield a bit. So I can maybe see Efra coming in playing a little bit, especially with the Vasquez injury that he just picked up. I think that's perfect for Efra to just slot in and take that spot Vasquez has been playing as. So I think the Galaxy probably go away with a 2-1 win. I think RSL kind of make it uncomfortable a bit, just because that's kind of how they've been with the Galaxy all year, have made the game really uncomfortable for the players, and just overall have kept themselves in each game they've played against the Galaxy. So I think a 2-1 is the most realistic scenario. We'll see. I think, Grandier keeps up his scoring because, the work rate's been incredible, and just what he's putting on the pitch is great. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him bag another one. And I think Cabral's playing with a little more confidence, so I think he'll probably get another one too. I think the home crowd is still divided on him a little bit, because like I mentioned, right, there's a lot of people on Twitter that are like, man, get him out of here, like, he's trash. you're a DP, stuff like that. Like, bro, just be patient. Like, just wait a little bit. I'm pretty sure he's not gonna end up like Brian Rodriguez and like be a flop. I think it's just a mental thing, really, because we've seen the potential he has. He can put a defender on skates when he wants to. We saw that this past weekend. If he can do it again and hopefully score, then that'll be even better, and I'll definitely explode at the stadium for sure. My head's popping off. But I think the Galaxy go and get a 2-1 victory. Good play from Revelson again, and I think Efra. I'm pretty sure he's gonna play on Wednesday, and I think he'll probably show his worth and show that hey, I want to be in the starting 11 in a packed midfield with tons of players who proved it while he was gone. I think Efra is gonna have a good game, just distributing the ball around like how Vasquez has been doing for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, no, I mean, you make great points, and it's great that the Galaxy are getting the Gold Cup guys back. Jonny, final thoughts?
I think we're going to do great, honestly. I think that this break is what the players needed. They know that the Gold Cup is over and we have a lot of guys coming back. We're confident. We know what to expect when it comes to RSL. I think it's going to be a great game. I don't like giving score predictions, so I'm not going to do that because I'm superstitious. But I do think we're going to do great. And I think that our mentality is completely different than it was when we were on the road a week ago. Yeah, I'm just genuinely excited. As far as Chicharito goes, I've been saying this every week, and I'm going to stand by it. Take as long as you need, Chicha. I don't want us to cut any corners. I don't want him to come out if he's freaked out about anything. We're doing great right now. We really are. So just let's take our time with Chicha, and let's just keep going at the pace that we're going at. Keep the good vibes up in the locker room, and we're going to be fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, and then obviously they play RSL on Wednesday, and then they got another home game on Sunday versus Vancouver Whitecaps. So two very winnable games at home, two very opponents that the Galaxy are very familiar with. So if they can just keep rolling, and hopefully the Gold Cup guys don't have too big of a hangover and are able to play, on Wednesday, because they really need them, and it's going to add a little bit more depth to that thin bench because of the Gold Cup. But yeah, man, I think it was a great show. Thank you guys for being on. Obviously, everybody in the chat, thank you guys for tuning in. So for Jonny, for Alex, this is Gio. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye, everybody.